Hello, this is Max. A young boy gets superpowers and confronts evil. Don't forget to subscribe. The film begins by transporting us back to 1974 in upstate New York, where we are introduced to young Thaddeus Savannah. He's in a car with his abusive father and brother Sid during a snowstorm, enduring constant mocking and verbal harassment from them. Thaddeus, in the backseat, is engrossed in a game on his device when something unusual happens. Random alphabets start appearing on his screen. This unexpected occurrence surprises him because it has never happened before. When he looks up, he is shocked to discover that his father and brother have disappeared from the car. Suddenly, the car accelerates, and Thaddeus becomes frightened, not knowing what's happening. As he looks around, all he sees is snow. Thaddeus decides to open the car door and steps out, only to realize that he is in a completely different world called the Rock of Eternity. To his amazement, he encounters an old wizard named Shazam, who stands before him. Shazam explains to Thaddeus that he is the last of the tribal wizards and has been on a quest to save the world from the 7 deadly sins: sloth, wrath, pride, greed, gluttony, envy, and lust. Shazam reveals that he has spent centuries searching for someone with a pure heart to be his champion and inherit his powers, as the previous champion released the 7 deadly sins. However, Shazam is growing old and losing control over his powers. He tells Thaddeus that he wants to make him his heir and pass on all his abilities, but only if Thaddeus proves himself worthy through a test. Thaddeus notices 7 statues containing the trapped 7 deadly sins and hears the voice of one of them, greed, offering him power and everything he desires in exchange for his help in setting them free. Thaddeus is about to reach for a glowing ball that can release the sins when Shazam intervenes, declaring him unworthy of his powers. He strikes his cane. In the next moment, Thaddeus finds himself back in the car with his father and brother. Thaddeus screams in the backseat, distracting his father, leading to a brutal accident that leaves his father paralyzed from the waist down and even more resentful toward him. The sins communicate with Thaddeus through his magic 8-ball toy, instructing him to find them. The scene then shifts to the Rock of Eternity, where Shazam is concerned about his weakening powers and the imminent threat posed by the sins. He decides to send out his powers to search for a pure-hearted person. The film transitions to the present day, taking us to Philadelphia, where 14-year-old foster child Billy Batson repeatedly runs away from foster homes in search of his birth mother, from whom he was separated 10 years ago at a carnival. Despite his efforts, Billy's search remains unsuccessful. Eventually, he ends up in another foster home, where he meets new foster siblings, including Mary Bromfield, Pedro Pina, Eugene Choi, Dalla Dudley, and superhero enthusiast Freddie Freeman. The couple, Victor and Rosa Vasquez, who run the foster home, share their own experiences of being foster children in the past. Meanwhile, a middle-aged bald man, Thaddeus, is shown to be searching for the Rock of Eternity ever since he was expelled from there. Additionally, there's a group of people who have also been to the Rock of Eternity, but were unable to pass the test and were subsequently kicked out. However, as voices sharing their experiences with the world continue, Thaddeus seeks help from these individuals and successfully collects the symbols he signed his magic 8-ball on the night in the car with his father. He arranges these symbols on a door, despite his assistant's skepticism, who deems the symbols as random and ineffective. However, when she touches the door with the symbols, she gets burned. Thaddeus opens the door and finds himself back in the Rock of Eternity. Shazam, though aged, is still present and has been maintaining the imprisonment of the 7 deadly sins. Thaddeus explains to Shazam that he had visited this place many years ago as a child and has returned not to steal Shazam's powers, but because the sins requested him to locate them. He is drawn to a glowing ball known as the Eye of Sin, which begins to emit a bright light. The 7 deadly sins claim that Shazam, being elderly, is now powerless to stop them. Raph speaks up, asserting that Shazam has been unable to find a successor, but they have found their champion. At this moment, all 7 statues shatter into pieces, releasing the 7 deadly sins to roam freely in the world. Raph confronts Thaddeus and declares him the true champion. The deadly sins merge into the Eye of Sin, and Thaddeus's eyes change color. Shazam desperately shouts for him to stop, warning that the sins will manipulate him. But Thaddeus retorts that Shazam will never find a pure-hearted heir in a world where everyone is tainted by sin. He then attacks Shazam and departs. The scene transitions back to the human world, where we see Freddy, a disabled boy who is bullied by other students at school. Freddy also happens to be Billy's foster brother. Billy intervenes by using Freddy's crutch to fend off the bullies and subsequently escapes from them. The two bullies chase after Billy, but he manages to board a subway just in time before the doors close. Inside the subway, passengers inexplicably disappear, and suddenly, snow surrounds them. When the subway doors reopen, Billy finds himself back at the Rock of Eternity, where Shazam stands before him. Shazam reveals that Billy is the world's last hope and offers to transfer all his powers to him, emphasizing that Billy possesses a pure heart. Reluctantly, Billy accepts, grasping Shazam's staff and transforming into a powerful adult superhero with all of Shazam's abilities. Shazam explains that Billy can enhance his powers through selfless acts but warns him not to lose sight of his pure heart. Overwhelmed, Billy shouts to be returned to where he came from. The next scene shows Billy sitting on the same train as before, but now he possesses the body of a grown-up, strong man. He heads back to his foster home, where he encounters Freddy, who doesn't recognize him at first. Billy proceeds to explain the entire story, and after some initial disbelief, Freddy finally accepts his incredible transformation. The two of them venture outside to practice and explore Billy's newfound powers. Billy and Freddy are amazed by the abilities Billy now possesses, which include superhuman strength, near invulnerability, and the manipulation of electricity. Returning to their foster care, Billy encounters his foster sister, Dala, who is frightened by his altered appearance. He explains that an old man told him to say the word Shazam, which transforms him into his superhero form. Saying Shazam again allows him to revert to his normal 14-year-old self. Billy now understands that Shazam is the magical word, enabling him to change his appearance. Meanwhile, Thaddeus, who has acquired the power of the 7 deadly sins, makes his way to his father's company. He immediately eliminates his older brother during a meeting, driven by the resentment from the bullying he endured as a child. The 7 deadly sins emerge and start attacking the other people in the meeting. Thaddeus declares himself the most powerful entity in the world. However, one of the sins informs Thaddeus that Shazam has found his heir, who is even more powerful than him. To become the most powerful, Thaddeus is told that he must eliminate this boy. Thaddeus departs from his father's office, and his demonic allies brutally eliminate his father. On the other hand, Freddy gains fame by posting viral videos of the new superhero. Billy starts skipping school to use his powers for busking and earning money. One day, while demonstrating his powers to a crowd near the road, Billy accidentally hits a moving bus with his electricity manipulation, causing a tire to go flat. The bus veers off a bridge, and just as it's about to crash, Billy uses his powers to stop it from falling, saving the lives of many people. However, Freddy is furious with Billy for his reckless actions, and the two of them get into a heated argument. During this confrontation, Thaddeus arrives and approaches Billy. He questions Billy if he has been chosen by Shazam, to which Billy responds affirmatively. Thaddeus then attacks Billy, overpowering him because Billy hasn't taken his powers seriously and hasn't prepared adequately. Billy endures a severe beating from Thaddeus. Thaddeus takes Billy to the sky and drops him from a great height. Just as he's about to crash on the ground, Billy discovers his ability to fly and prevents himself from falling. Thaddeus continues to assault him and lands another powerful blow. Both of them eventually end up at a crowded mall, where Billy realizes that he cannot defeat Thaddeus in his current state. He says Shazam and transforms back into his true identity as Billy, blending in with the crowd. Thaddeus, realizing that Freddy is Shazam's friend, kidnaps him. Meanwhile, Billy discovers the address of his mother, the woman he has been searching for over the last 10 years. She lives only 2 subway stops away. Billy rushes out of his house, with his foster parents out of town. Back at the house, Thaddeus shows up with Freddy and traps the children. Billy arrives at his mother's apartment complex, and she informs him that she intentionally abandoned him because she was just 17 when she had him and thought he would be better cared for by others. Billy, controlling his emotions, accepts this heartbreaking reality and reassures his mother that he's fine but must return to his real family. He gives her the keychain compass she gave him years ago and receives a call from Thaddeus telling him to come home. Billy transforms into Shazam and flies home, where he decides to give up his powers to save his family. He confronts Thaddeus, who opens a magical door to the Rock of Eternity and takes the wizard's staff. Thaddeus releases the 7 deadly sins and pursues the other foster kids, who escape into a winter carnival. Thaddeus unleashes the sins upon the crowd, and Billy uses the opportunity to share his power with his foster siblings. They all grab a stick and say Shazam, transforming into adult superheroes like him. The Shazam family battles against the sins, while Billy faces Thaddeus. Billy tricks Thaddeus into leaving himself vulnerable and recaptures the sins after forcefully pulling the eye out of Thaddeus's head. Billy and his siblings are hailed as heroes, and they return the sins to their prison. They realize they can use the Rock of Eternity as their superhero headquarters. With Billy reunited with his real family, the movie comes to an end. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen, and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.